Welcome to Lions Live 365. I am your host, Michael Ayers, and today we are talking about Rueben Bain Jr. and the possibility that he may actually be available at 17. Why do you ask? Would Rueben Bain Jr. fall all the way to 17? Yesterday, there was a story that broke that spoke about Rueben Bain Jr. being responsible for a death of a young lady. I'm going to read the story and I'm going to give you my opinion. All right. With that being said, let's get into it. Now, according to Oliver Connolly from the Read Optional, Rueben Bain, a projected top 10 pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, was involved in a fatal traffic collision in Miami in March 2024. And I have to stop it here. Why is this coming out today? Why in the world would it come out today? We're talking about March 2024. That means March 2025, March 2026, and a month for you to drop this thing that happened 2 years ago. What, like, I just don't get why the timing of the piece, in my opinion, just feels as though somebody put him up to this, or that at some point there must have been something suppressing the story. Those are the only two things that come to mind, because I just don't believe that the entire world and just didn't know this happened, and only Oliver Connolly from Read Optional, not Adam Schefter, not Ian Rappaport, not anybody covering college sports. No one knew this occurred but Oliver Connolly. I'm a continue. Bain, then a sophomore at the University of Miami, was driving on Interstate 95 in Miami at 4 a.m. on the 17th of March 2024 when his vehicle struck another car before careering into concrete barriers on both sides of the highway. According to the police crash records reviewed by the Read Optional, one of the four passengers in Bain's car, Destiny Betts, a 22-year-old college student from Georgia who was visiting Miami for spring break, suffered incapacitating injuries and was rushed to the Ryder Trauma Center from the scene. She never regained consciousness. Betts died on the 13th of June 2024 after spending almost 3 months in a coma. So I just want to, and I don't want to be somebody that's taking this lightly. I want to show respect to Miss Betts and her family. I want her to, I want her family to definitely bounce back after this. I couldn't imagine losing my child in any way, shape, or form. So that is not something to be poo-pooed. What I will say is, I still don't understand how this could happen. How she could be in a coma for 3 months. And we are finding out about it almost 2 years later. I don't get it. Let's move forward. A second passenger was hospitalized with injuries. Two other University of Miami players were in the car at the time of the crash. Linebacker Wesley Bisonte and Najalik Kelly. And both are eligible for the 2026 NFL Draft. Look at y'all, just helping out the youth, putting as many names in this story as humanly possible. The police crash report states that Bain operated his vehicle in a careless or negligent manner. Following the collision with the second vehicle, Bain's car, owned by a company, struck the east concrete wall before being redirected into the west concrete wall, where it came to rest. It was later towed after sustaining disabling damage. A bunch of information nobody needed to know. Now let's move forward to some more fluff. Or if you want to, you can look at this particular part of the story, like what in the world and why is it written this way? No field sobriety test was administered at the scene. Bain was cited for careless driving. That charge was dismissed approximately 2 weeks before Betts died, while she remained in a coma. Now, I don't know if this is like one of those situations like, hey, I'm gonna stretch this story out as much as I can. It's kind of like, hey, I got a story, and it's like, it's kind of like that paper that that you got the 10-page paper and you trying to like stretch the 9 pages to 10, so you add a bunch of extra and you say things in weird ways to try to stretch it out. But there's something about this story that just grinds my gears, that gets under my skin, and it's just how it's reported, right? No field sobriety test was administered at the scene could literally be stated in a million different ways, where it's like, hey, there was no signs of drunk driving or drug use, right? Instead of that, you say no sobriety test was administered, as if this was a cover up, right? This is something that is open to interpretation. And when you do that, you get a lot more people talking about your story. So let's also, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to move away from that. Let's look at the actual police report, right? In this police report, people had they seatbelts on, right? At the end of the day, nobody was ejected out of the car. They didn't cite him for speeding, so it's reckless and careless driving, but it's not saying, hey, he was going 105 when this occurred. But also want to actually say, hey, let's point this out. No suspected alcohol use. No test given. No suspected drug use. No test given. So basically, there's no, outside of bad driving, maybe driving that's too aggressive. Maybe he lost control of a car that he doesn't own and isn't used to driving. All I know is I'm not going to kill a 20-year-old man who hold up, wait, I'm talking about his this year age. This is 2 years old. So we're talking about a 19-year-old who had a car accident and somebody died. That's what we're talking about in this particular situation. Does anybody else feel as though this is ridiculous other than me? We're talking about a guy with NIL money who probably got a super powered car, right? Who had an accident and we are speaking as if he's done something overly wrong other than the fact that he made a mistake at 19. This isn't, hey, I smacked a girl or I beat a girl. This isn't, hey, I'm out here, raping women. It's not that. It's none of the bad guy stuff that we've heard. This is not drunk driving. This isn't drunk driving with racing, and yet it's getting compared to the Laramie Tunsil's, where it's clearly illegal in the league. It's clearly illegal where he was at, and he's gas masking, making proof of actual drug use. Right? It's not Jalen Carter, where he fled the scene after having an accident. Right? It's not that. Right? So when you look at this, I'm trying to understand why this is such a big story, and it's just the way that the story is written leaves so much to interpretation, right? But to me, it's written as a hit piece. If I'm tripping, let me know if I'm tripping, right? Now I'm gonna go back to the story. Now we're going to go with the quote. Destiny is a smart, caring young woman working towards her college degree. Bet's family wrote on GoFundMe page in 2024. Aside from the emotional toll that this has taken, the financial strain on her dad has been overwhelming. He has had to take time off of work to be by Destiny's side, missing out on crucial income during this already expensive time in Miami. Wow. Way to paint Rueben Bain as the bad guy. Like you didn't send none of your NIL money to these people when it's clearly your fault that she passed. Okay, let's move forward. Multiple lead sources confirmed they are aware of the incident and are continuing to investigate. It remains unclear if it will affect Bain's draft position. It feels like it could be Laramie Tunsil all over again. Doesn't feel like Bain has been transparent with us. I have a question, and if you disagree, just let me know. Like, if your job doesn't involve driving, if your job doesn't involve driving, and you have had an accident before, and it doesn't matter what happened because there was no criminal liability there. What why do you need to tell people that it occurred? Like at the end of the day, these are the same organizations that have former FBI, CIA doing their investigating. So I'm sure that people found out about it. This is public record. It's not like he had it expunged. So I'm trying to understand why this is a story, right? In conversation, several team sources drew comparisons to the draft night slide of Laramie Tunsil. I just said that. Concerned after further revelations about Bain could be revealed close to or on draft night, Tunsil entered the 2016 draft as the projected number 1 pick, blah, blah, blah. We are still looking, a source told the Read Optional, citing recent incidents involving Henry Ruggs, James Pierce, Jalen Carter, Rashee Rice, as giving the team pause. You're talking about people that were drunk driving. You're comparing a kid who had an accident. There was no proof of drug use. There was no proof of alcohol. And in this story, you are lumping him in with people that were drunk driving and killed people. A person that and two people that have domestic abuse, right? One dude was out there performing domestic abuse at such a level that he didn't even care that the cops saw him, right? And then we have Jalen Carter, who, like I said, fled the scene, things of that nature. And I just don't understand how we are making it so that these things somehow relate. I don't get that. But we're moving forward. We're gonna finish here. And now I'm gonna kind of circle back to why I think this happens. I'm also going to circle back how this affects the Lions and whether or not he even on the draft board, right? And then they said Bain was again cited for careless driving in 2025. That case was also dismissed because of defective citation. So we're talking about tickets that never occurred, essentially. Like, hey, he got another ticket. He had over a 3-year period, 2024, 2025, and 2026, he has 2 traffic tickets, and that's news to people. But we continuing, we're continuing, right? As her family, we remain deeply committed to honoring her memory in a meaningful and appropriate way. Best family said in a statement to the Read Optional. Destiny's passing was a result of a tragic accident that occurred several years ago. While the loss remains incredibly painful for our family, we have worked hard to find peace and move forward. At this time, we are not seeking public attention surrounding this tragedy and respectfully request that our family's privacy be honored. We also wish Mr. Bain the best as he continues his life and career. So, let me get this straight. A 19-year-old has an accident, somebody dies. No drug use, no alcohol, no woman beaten, no rape allegations, no I punch people, I'm not a gambler, I just drive aggressively sometimes, or I am a bad driver. That's going to cost me millions of dollars? Get him a chauffeur. I don't know what to tell y'all. To me, I'm not saying this is a non-story. And the only reason I'm not saying it's a non-story is because at the end of the day, this did cause someone to lose their life. But I am not going to hold a 21-year-old or a 21-year-old now responsible for something that happened at 19 that he actually already he's going to end up paying for it because he's going to lose. Somebody's not going to draft him because of this, because they want choir boys, because everything is just a sign that, oh, he's going to continue doing this. If the biggest problem a guy has is reckless driving, it better not make them not a Lion. All right. So let's get into this. So I wanted to be very sure. And there is something else I wanted to say, because I despise how this particular thing is written. And I one of the things that had me kind of like thrown off was like, who in the world is Oliver Connolly, and why is no one else reporting this? But then I saw something on Twitter by the Draft on Daft, or the Daft on Draft guy, Corey, and I'm just gonna talk about it on this Twitter here. Um, and it basically said he had been in contact with the best family lawyer. It was their wishes that any story I was working on not be published until after the draft, and it kind of goes over the statement. Um, and basically, this is basically just saying, hey, we're not seeking public attention. We mean well for Bain and this, and really we would respect our privacy, right? So, if you want, you can pause and read the actual statement, but I'm gonna move on, and we're just gonna get right into the Lions part of this. Now, the Lions have had a very strict and a very, 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 and I mean a very strict policy about character issues. But I just want to understand what that means, right? Because if you're talking about character, a kid who drives recklessly, and you know what I'm saying, like we're literally talking about traffic tickets, right? He had an accident, somebody died, but we're talking about traffic tickets because at the end of the day, there's no drug use, there's no alcohol. He just drove incorrectly at 19 years old, most likely in a supercar, because nobody is going to another company to rent out a car unless it's something nice. It's probably something fast. So if I'm sitting here, a 19-year-old or 18, he might have been, is at the end of the day, eight is a teen of some sort, gets in an accident in a supercar, and we are sitting here acting as if this man is and I blame the story. I'm not going to sit here and act as if the way the story was written, it doesn't seem like the kid's a supervillain. But at the end of the day, if the Lions feel as though that is enough to take people off of our draft board, we need new GMs. We need new managements. If he's here at 17, if Rueben Bain drops to 12, we need to be on the phone. We need a guy that can play outside, play inside, and his deficiencies with his short arm length doesn't really matter to the Lions because at the end of the day, they like kicking their base end inside a lot anyway, where his short arms really aren't going to matter that much. So when you kick them in, on first or second down, them short arms not going to matter. And the guy has shown against quality competition that it doesn't matter how short his arms are, he kills. I love this guy as a prospect. We are not going to run into people that can actually do the job that we are asking defensive ends to do on first and second down often. Not with real talent, not with, and at the end of the day, if those guys are available, they're going to have real flaws. Josh Pascal had real flaws. Levi Onwuzurike is the person that they are saying is the base end right now. He has real flaws. I want a guy that is an upgrade. If we get a possibility to get a first round pick, like a first round talent, a blue chip talent, and you're talking about, hey, he drives recklessly, I'm good. You don't need to be the GM of this team. And I'm a big Brad supporter, but at some point we got to draw a line. There's a difference between mistakes and a character issue. If I make a mistake, and we're literally talking about if anybody who's ever had an accident is off of the board, then you can't be serious. I'm sorry, I can't take that serious. No criminal charges, not even a civil suit from the family. And at the end of the day, we're talking about, oh, the other shoe might. What other shoe? There's no criminal charges, no civil suit. He likes to drive fast. He doesn't even have speeding tickets. Myles Garrett drives fast. He got speeding tickets. Shedeur Sanders drives fast. They got speeding tickets. We're talking about driving. If you consider reckless driving as a true character issue, you're insane. And at the end of the day, we're talking about citations. We're literally talking about traffic citations. I can't do it. If the Lions pass on Rueben Bain Jr. at 17 because of traffic citations, I might be done with the regime. Like I did at some point, we gotta draw the line on trying to be this virtuous system, because at the end of the day, what happened with Rueben Bain is way less than having your homies kidnap and pistol whip somebody, Terry Arnold style, or with Cam Sutton beating his girlfriend, or any of the other things that we've had occur in this on this team. Like, it just doesn't make sense for me to sit here and be like, oh, Rueben Bain's a bad guy, or Rueben Bain has character issues because he had an accident when he was a teenager. That's foolishness. Now, if this situation gives us the opportunity to get a elite talent, we better get it. And if you're a Detroit Lions fan and you've come across this video, I would like to hear your thoughts on this. Are you out on Bain? Did you see the story the same way I saw the story? Because I saw the story as like, yo, this is a hit piece. And whether it's game day, draft day, or any day in between, it's Lions Live 365. Please like and subscribe. Peace out.